So welcome to the third video in this series of Future-Proof Yourself videos for January. We started off just introducing the 4 key areas, which are reflection, raising your profile, which we're going to talk about today. So reflection was last week, so go back and have a look at that video if you've missed it. As I said, raising your profile this week. Networking is going to be next week, and we're going to then finish off with self-development. And these are what I would say are 4 really key areas in terms of future-proofing ourselves. So let's crack on with a very interesting subject, raising your profile. God, I'm brilliant. God, I'm superb. Oh, you need me in your company. Isn't really quite what it's about. So raising your profile, we're going to split it down into 3 areas. One is selling yourself. And quite often, as I have to do, people will say to me, so why should we employ you to work with our people, David? If I haven't got a good answer, I don't get the job. And perhaps as you develop in your careers, people say, well, why should we give you that project? Or clients may say, why should we instruct you? So you really do need to think about it and know what you're about. The second area of raising your profile which is very important, is actually building your confidence. And making sure that you come across as confident. I want my people to be confident. I want them to have good self-esteem, good confidence, good self-awareness, know what they're talking about. Subconsciously, I dare say you are, but I want us to be conscious of this and know what we're about, know what we've got to offer. And I'll come on and talk about that in a lot more detail. The third area is, very interesting thought, professional responsibility. Now, I'm sure you've seen my video with regards to going to the theatre and the production company who are doing the theatre production come on stage and halfway through their first song stop and go and sort that video out. It was really interesting in terms of professional responsibility, because you turn around and go, well, I've spent all this money, that's not very professional. But do we perform to the best of our abilities on an ongoing basis? Well, sometimes we need to, if we want people to want to deal with us. And also to raise our profile. So they're the 3 key areas that we're going to look at. So let's crack on with the first one, and that is selling yourself. So I think the best thing to think about it is if you were a limited company, as I often say to people, selling our time, our knowledge and expertise. But you need to know how to sell yourself and how to market yourself. So it is worth spending some time actually thinking, well, if I was that limited company, I didn't work for a big organisation, or perhaps you do work for yourself, what have I actually got to offer? What's my skill set? What's my knowledge? What's my experience? And sit down and think and write out some really good examples of how you've demonstrated your experience and your knowledge and the value and the benefit you bring. Not just what you've done, but the value. What developments and improvements have you brought your business? How have you added value? How have you helped other people develop and improve? So that's very important, is to have really good examples. It's a bit like going for an interview. When we go to an interview, we have to sell ourselves. And quite often when I do training courses within a classroom environment, I'll say to people, look, how many of you would like to come up the front and sort of explain to the rest of your colleagues why you're good at what you do? And I don't get very many takers. People feel, oh no, I wouldn't like to do that. I don't like having to talk about myself. Well, it's important that we do. So get used to it and start practicing it. It's very important. And as I come on in a moment, I'll talk, it's professional responsibility that you know what you're good at. So write out what you're good at, what your passions, what your successes have been, and provide really good examples. And be prepared to, put your hand up a little bit more. In the working environment, get involved in certain projects and say, I would like to get involved. I'd like to take that on. Yes, it is more work, but don't you want to develop? Don't you want to move forward? If you are a manager and perhaps you're not very good at delegating because you hang on to too many things, learn to delegate, learn to free up time so you can get involved in other areas. And also start to think about, in terms of selling yourself, if you do work in an organisation, or if you do work for yourself, think about the people you have to deal with. Think about the decision makers. How do they like their information? Do they like you to get straight to the point? Do they like detailed analysis? Do they like the relationship? Or do they want to sit round and talk about things in depth and make sure that everyone's happy? All your decision makers that you deal with will like their information in a slightly different way. If you've done any profiling, psychometric testing, go and get that out. If you haven't, and you want to drop me a line, and I can sort of point you in the direction of some good ones to look at. And that just helps you to understand, one, how you like information, but more important, how other people like information and what's important to them. And also in terms of selling yourself, it's not always about you doing the talking. It's about you asking questions and understanding what your senior directors, what do they want? Why do they want it? How do they want it? When do they want it? In what format would they like it produced? So you have a very good understanding of how they want information so you can provide it. And it's a much better way of selling yourself and raising your profile if you understand that. And also think about what are their motivating values in making decisions. And that's a really important aspect. Are some of your key directors, or perhaps even some of your clients, are they on a bit of a career bender wanting to change the world? How do you help them do that? Do they just want to, they just focus on the figures, on the numbers? So how are you going to help them achieve that? Or do they want to do it for the good of the company and the good of the clients? So there's going to be some different motivational values of why people want to do things. Understanding that is very important so you can pitch at the right level. And it is also about getting on different people's levels. It's not so much about what you think, it's about how they want their information and what's it that they're looking for. So really, yeah, stop selling yourself and let people buy off you or buy you. Let them see what you're good at. Let them have the opportunity to go, yeah, I'd like them to work for us. So show and demonstrate your best qualities. So that's a little bit on selling yourself. The second part, which that sort of links into, is boosting your confidence. Now, I've had the fortunate opportunity to do a lot of coaching conversations in my career. But I would argue that 95% of them, we always come round to this subject of self-esteem and confidence. Now that doesn't matter where that person is in the business. They may be at the very top, they may be working their way up, they may have all sorts of different types of jobs. But often people have this, I don't know, as if they're not worthy, and they lack this self-esteem and confidence, imposter syndrome with regards to, well, you know, should I really be doing this? The answer is yes, you're the best person for the job. I get this constantly. I wasn't academically particularly gifted through my education, and quite often I'm stood in front of people in rooms and I'm thinking, gosh, they're all more qualified than me. Why would they want to sit and listen to me? But I've demonstrated over the years that I'm capable. I've got some really good stories, I've got some really good information. I can package and present training programs and presentations and coaching and mentoring sessions so people want to buy. And I've used that a lot in developing my confidence. So the best way to start is to think about this word self-esteem. Self-esteem is Latin for how we estimate ourselves. So if I said to you, okay, we're in January at the moment, but last year, how did last year go? Now, would you write down lots of positives or would you write down the negatives? So please sit down and think about what went well for me last year. What did I learn? What challenges did I overcome? Even if you dealt with a difficult hand, how did you deal with it? And then you start to realise, actually, I've achieved quite a lot. And then I can start to think about, yeah, I have demonstrated some good skills. I have got some good examples. And this is very important to boost your self-esteem. As we said with regards to selling yourself, you need to constantly provide good quality examples of why you're good at what you do. And it boosts your self-esteem, makes you feel good about yourself. And then the phrase comes, well, if you've done it before, you can do it again. So there may be times when I've had some tough presentations, or perhaps tough training courses, and certainly some tough coaching conversations. And I've been, very nervous. Wish I'd have put a little bit more right guard on those days. But then I sat down and thought, I've done it. I've delivered it. And that's given me confidence for the next one that's come along. So I can go to the next event, be it a presentation, big speech in front of a lot of people, a training session, a coaching session, and I've got the confidence, but because I've built my self-esteem. So this just doesn't happen. Okay, some people are naturally more confident than others. The rest of us have to work at it. It's like going to the gym, practicing your press-ups, learning to cook. These are skill sets, but we can learn our confidence, and it's up to you to develop your self-esteem. And really, it's only you that can do it, unless you want to splash out money on a coach for someone to coach you through this process, which isn't a bad idea. So that's about building confidence. The third part I want to talk about is professional responsibility. A lot of people think, well, what's that about? But I always say to them, yeah, but you like to think you're professional, don't you? Well, yeah, we provide a very professional service. I'm very professional in the way I act and behave at work. Well, are you? Just spend some time thinking about all the hours that you are at work. Do you perform to the best of your abilities all the time? And sometimes people say, well, of course I don't. I have down days. Well, don't have any down days. You're a professional. As I've previously mentioned in this video and on another video about going to the theatre and the cast of the theatre stopping halfway through the song and saying, well, we've had enough of this. You wouldn't be very happy with them. You'd want professional responsibility. There's other organisations that we perhaps deliver and work with, and we think, well, I want professional service. I want a good service. I want an answer straight away. If you go to a restaurant, you won't accept poor food. You won't accept bad service. Well, can't they have an off day? Well, no, because they're in the public eye. They're delivering. So are you. You're delivering to your colleagues. You're delivering to your clients. You're delivering to your customers. You're delivering to your senior managers and directors and the business. So the best way to really influence people and raise your profile is constantly being really good at what you do. So spend some time thinking about this. Do I perform to the best of my abilities? Do I look after myself so I can do so? In terms of what I eat, what I drink, my sleep levels, so I turn up to work so I'm ready for it. I can't turn up to a training course and walk through the door and go, God, you lot for a whole day, I really don't need this. They wouldn't accept it. When I turn up to a company to do a training course or a talk or a coaching session, I've got to be there. I've got to be bubbly David, positive, full of solutions. And I've got to be like that all the time. Yeah, I have down days. They're Saturday and Sunday mornings when I go cycling, where I just want to get away from everybody and just sort of just go and lose myself out cycling, or perhaps go out walking. And then I can be a grump of myself and whatever. But when I'm performing, I've got to perform, and so have you. It's called professional responsibility. So have a really good think about that. How do you perform to the best of your abilities every single day? So 3 key areas there to help us raise our profile. One is being prepared to sell yourself, or as I said, let people buy from you, see your qualities, but you've got to demonstrate those qualities. Building your self-esteem and confidence really is a very important aspect that we all need to work on. And the third one is professional responsibility. Do you demonstrate it every single day? So your clients, your senior directors, your team members that you work with and other people in other departments and your colleagues can see, yes, you're good at what you do. People want to deal with you, want to work with you then. And it helps to raise your profile. So there's those 3 areas. So that's the second key area that we've covered on these 4 videos. So the first one was reflection last week. Go and have a look if you missed it. Today was obviously raising your profile. Next week, fascinating subject, networking. If only I'd have known about networking in my 20s rather than in my 50s, life would have been so much easier. And I use it a lot, and I have to work very hard at it. And I don't expect other people to come banging on my door. I, keep in contact with others, and don't worry about having an ego or not contacting them. Give it a go. People appreciate it when you do make the effort. So that's networking, but we'll go into that in a lot more detail. And the fourth one, which is going to be about managing your self-development, and just some more key ideas of how to do that. So I hope you're enjoying the videos. Please continue to like, subscribe, and share the love with other people. Certainly if you've got anybody that you're working with, or perhaps someone in your family that you feel could benefit from some of these videos, please do pass it on. Be really appreciated. And as ever, please drop me an email if you've got any questions. Be more than happy to personally reply or pick up the phone. Anyway, thanks for your time. See you next week.